For a closer look at the upcoming trade talks, I'm joined by current affairs commentator Einar Tangen in Beijing. Einar, welcome back to the show. What is the expectation for these talks, and how is China viewing this U.S. delegation?
Well, Elaine, it's not clear what they're going to be offering. I mean, they're showing up here. You have three. They did not mention Wilbur Ross, who's also very anti-China. So out of the five, you have three who are definitely China hawks. It's really hard for them to see them pushing anything that's very, very constructive. I think if anything happens, it's going to happen with Muchin and Kudlow. They're both people who are more reasonable. They understand business. So at this point, I don't think expectations are high.
That being said, how much can actually get accomplished? Is this just more of a matter of meeting face to face and trying to find some areas where there could be some compromise down the road? And then what happens if there is no breakthrough?
Well, quite frankly, I mean, the preset conditions, I mean, China has tried very hard to push this off. They said, let's settle this at the WTO. Let's figure out some way of doing it. But by beginning this kind of trade action with these unilateral tariffs and things like that, the U.S. was trying this kind of playground bully stuff that Trump loves. He wanted to, literally shake China down. And his team had advised him that if he did this, China would fold. That they would say, okay, what do you need? What do we have to do? Peace at any price. But that was not what happened, and they've been very, very surprised. China's pushback has caught them back-footed, and that's why you see this delegation coming to China. I mean, Trump is sitting there saying, you guys told me to do this. Now you guys go over and figure out what's going to happen. What they're going to put on the table is very difficult. Politically, Donald Trump is kind of wedded to this idea. He's already backed off in Europe. Yesterday, he took off, extended the time for another 30 days to negotiate with the EU. The EU is pushing back. Almost everybody he's been threatening is pushing back, including India and Japan, indirectly by beginning real trade talks with China. So I don't think this is going the way that his trade hawks thought it would. They thought everyone would gang up on China and that this would be to the U.S. benefit. That is not happening.
And we've seen so much change and go back and forth in the last 3 to 6 months. Are we seeing a low point, the lowest point in China-U.S. relations right now?
No, I don't think it's a low point. I mean, this is kind of calculation. The U.S. is trying to figure out how much they can push. China is saying, look, we're not going to be bullied by this type of stuff. You're asking us to, by abandoning our future growth, to cripple our economy for what? It's not going to make any difference. You have to remember, I mean, we're talking about jobs in China that pay $15 a day. The three top exports are shoes, clothes, furniture. All right. If the U.S. puts tariffs on those, they're going to be hurting the lower middle class and poorer people who depend on these things. But those jobs are never coming back to the U.S. No one in the U.S. could even legally work for $15 a day. Quite frankly, China is having to get rid of those jobs, is losing those jobs to cheaper areas, Vietnam, Bangladesh, India, Philippines, anywhere where they can pay somebody $5 a day or even $1 a day. So this is not something where the U.S. can get back these jobs magically. It's really just a feeling that the U.S. has that they've been bypassed since the beginning of WTO, which is not true. The U.S. and Europe took the majority of all the profits. Everyone talks about how much manufacturing is going, but they forget that it was the American and European companies that were making, fattening their bottom line by producing around the world.
And that delegation heading your way, Einar, all eyes will be in Beijing this week. Thank you for your time.